All right, we are live. And what are we looking at? Actually, let's just go here and look at Balaji. Anyone, anywhere, 100K in funding government see responded here. Let's look at some of the Balaji tweets. Cheap concert tickets are gone forever. Per B, I call the Zillow effect. Seamless online transactions increase demand while supply stays the same. Applies to housing, job applications, college application, used items, concert tickets, dating, hot vacation spots, and more. Seamless online transaction increases demand while supply stays the same. Hmm. They don't do this because maximizing demand is great for sellers. They can raise prices and maximize profit. The Zillow effect is great for sellers, terrible for buyers. It means more applicants for college and jobs, more choices for the top 20% of men and women, more visibility and profit for sellers, more traffic and demand for goods and services. But it also means tougher competition for college and job applicants, tougher competition on the bottom 80%, higher prices for used items, tickets, houses, apartments, no more hidden vacation spots or fishing spots. Everyone knows where the good stuff is. This is only if supply is elastic, supply is inelastic. It becomes a seller's market. Inelastic goods and services like spots at top colleges and firms, houses in good neighborhoods, good vacation spots, used goods, potential romantic partners, concert tickets limited by venue, and of course, channels itself. If supply is elastic, such as commercial goods, products, food, etc., then yes, supply will rise to meet demand. This thread explains the efficiency of the internet as well as I've ever seen. Elastic goods have gotten more affordable, and elastic goods, both intrinsically inelastic and inelastic because of regulation, have gotten more expensive. More affordable new cars, household furnishings, clothing, telephone services, community software, toys, TVs, hospital services, college tuitions. Hmm. Okay. So how easily can you increase the demand? Yes, in general, the internet shows leverage from consumers back to producers. For example, AI lets anyone manage agents. Cryptocurrency lets sellers accept payments without chargebacks. Robots let builders scale with fewer resources because producers are much more scarcer than consumers. There's arguably net good. Exceptions include the many markets with inelastic production, often because of regulation. Inelastic production, often because of regulation. Everything that Western states heavily regulate or subsidize has become more expensive. Everything that tech has reinvented has fallen in price. Mm. Inflation is here. It's just not very evenly distributed. The areas tech touches, television, software, phones have experienced hyperdeflation. The areas subsidized or regulated by the state, healthcare, education, have experienced real price increases. The approach chart appears to be a national aggregate, but it goes without saying that housing prices have also grown faster than real income in many markets. Okay. Interesting thread, Zillow effect. That makes sense. I thought Balaji would talk more about opportunities, how internet has created more opportunities, but again, this makes sense. He's talking about leverage moving back to producers because producers are sellers in general, sellers, producers, people who create creators, let's say, they are in general just more valuable. I'm pretty bummed that nobody's a libertarian chart since it's going wild again. Okay, I don't want to get into this because let's see if we can understand what he's saying, because I don't understand the political context over here. Everyone is a libertarian on the internet because it is simultaneously far more progressive and far more capitalist than any previous society. Ultra progressive because billions of people from every race, religion, and ethnicity are on the global internet. Anyone can speak to anyone, broadcast anything associated with anyone, and do just about whatever they want if it is permitted by code. There's also uber capitalist because billions of people can transact with anyone, hire anyone, work for anyone, found their own businesses, become zillionaires, set up their own servers, and enjoy perfect freedom of association. The common thread is individual consent. You consent to sign up to a server, you consent to install an app, and every million person community on the internet is formed by a million similar voluntary actions. So the internet proves that consent scales, that voluntarism scales, that internationalism scales, that capitalism scales. It proves this empirically because, by and large, despite all its faults, the total freedom of the internet is attractive. The ultranationalist, nevertheless, chooses to post on international network. The anti-capitalist, nevertheless, chooses to post through a capitalist phone. The reason the internet works is that code is law. So all the practical libertarian ideas that presuppose flawless judges or strict property rights suddenly became feasible. For example, open borders in the physical world doesn't work. But in the digital world, a site like Facebook actually can onboard billions of strangers and automatically adjudicate the interactions between them. Similarly, polycentric law before the internet didn't work because you can realistically have multiple legal systems in the same physical location. But now with Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, you can simply swap between monetary policies and contract enforcement as you see fit. The fundamental point is that the internet makes libertarianism more practical. For example, the esteemed Ron Paul wrote about ending the Fed, but that couldn't realistically be done at the level of the state. However, tech libertarians could buy Bitcoin and thereby practically end the Fed at the level of the network. Similarly, tech libertarians couldn't shut down the post office, but they could boot up email. They couldn't reform taxi medallions. They could boot up Uber. They couldn't reform these failed states, so they built the alternative on the global network. Such examples can be multiplied, but the point is that actually existing libertarianism does exist. It is called the internet. It is simply the most popular thing in the world, perhaps the most popular thing in human history. It is much more popular than any individual politician or state, and yet it is still underestimated. This will be one of the main tension of the century. Everyone wants their own walled garden, but everyone also wants the scale of the global internet. We likely have both coexist your own friendly servers in the broader digital world. The internet long internet must divide, doxing, color revolution, cybersecurity elements destroying creatives, AI empowerment, dataism, terrorist drones on non-anons. All of it calls for balkanization of the network. There's safety in walled gardens. Hmm. Communism was slavery, that's 100% taxation meant, and they didn't want the slaves to escape, but there is always an exit. The right to exit is fundamental human right. It's equivalent to individual consent and to communal self-determination, even the UN recognizes it. The worst states in history revoked the, the human right to exist. Oh, sorry, exit. The Soviets, the Nazis, the East Germans, the Cubans, the North Koreans, they did not let you leave. What's the third kind of thing? Internet company, internet currency, internet community. Yeah, this is very interesting when Balaji says that America is becoming like, okay, I don't know if we get into politics, but America is thinking America first, and America is just 4% of the world, and there are a lot of people around the world. So that is very interesting when Balaji says that. Okay. No, actually, I will listen to this entire podcast. The original singularity, early anthropoid apes, Homo sapiens, the Korean opacity, capacity. Okay, so this is talking about how the what is this axis called? Millions of years before present, Korean capacity, right? So Korean capacity was constantly growing, and it was growing exponentially. The economic singularity. Some say technology is anti-human, but humanity is actually distinguished from animals by its use of technology, clothes instead of fur, tools in lieu of fangs, even cooking simplified stomachs. The expensive tissue hypothesis stipulates that each such technological upgrade allowed more nutrients to be acquired and spent on the brain. So, for millions of years, evolution has been reducing humanity's dependence on hardware for FANG stomachs in favor of general purpose software that humans can run on their brains, which is also the direction of technology today. That means we live inside a Russian doll of nested singularities, from the cognitive ascent of hominids to the economic ascent of capitalism to the contemporary ascent of technology. In the words, was actually natural for humans is the use of technology to achieve exponential improvements first in computation and then living standards. What is natural is the exponential. I hope it will be a golden age. I know it will be a Bitcoin age. The US dollar is worth 10.1% less than it was beginning of the year. Yields of dollar down, gold near all-time highs, Bitcoin near all-time highs too. Keyn- Keynesianism debases the currency, stealing from citizens and businesses alike, but then some blame capitalism, resulting in more state power and then more money printing. Not just delivery, she shops almost every day and tries to save money by going to different stores. Noticing prices going up everywhere, not just Publix, but also Costco, PJ's, Walmart, Target, and Sam's Club. It feels like no matter where we go, groceries and essentials are getting ridiculously expensive, and it's not even luxury stuff, just normal basic items. Someone explain what's going on here. Inflation, greed, corporate nonsense, generally trying to understand why everything got so freaking expensive and how people are managing right now. Is anyone else feeling this too? The senior engineer needs only one prompt. The junior engineer needs multiple prompts, different vantage points. From the standpoint of the AI, senior engineer will surely prompt it more than a junior engineer, but from the standpoint of the org, a senior engineer will figure out a fix given only one line prompt from a coworker. So this seemed to be a good one. Okay. The view that imagines AI wiping out jobs or causing some overnight shock to the system doesn't contemplate that companies are made of a series of bottlenecks. When AI accelerates work in one area, you run into a bottleneck somewhere else. As an individual workflow gets more efficient, the ultimate productivity gain is still constrained by some other part of the system. And usually it's the case that that part of the system will not have inherently seen the same impact of AI efficiency, which means humans are still doing the work. Take almost any process in enterprise, and you can see how this plays out. If AI agents generate leads for the sales team, the bottleneck will be humans to have conversation with the customers. And if the leads are good, that will mean more sales hiring. If AI agents generate more code, you will eventually be bottlenecked by the engineers that can review and incorporate that code into production. You can quickly see how this scales to any process in an organization. Economists and others tend to totally miss how work actually happens in a company. It's not a series of wholly independent tasks, but instead highly interdependent tasks that all link to each other across the system. This is, of course, the natural rate limiter of AI efficiency gains, but also the reason why humans will still be doing so many jobs in the future. Hmm. Tax will also show humans trying to work with each other, so I think the ethical company will still be smaller. First, the new bottleneck on AI is prompting and verifying, since AI does task middle to middle, not end to end. The business spend migrates toward the edges of prompting and verifying even as AI speeds up the middle. Again, AI really means simplified intelligence, not agentic intelligence. The smarter you are, the smarter the AI is. Better writers are better prompters. Third, AI doesn't really take your job. It allows you to do any job because it allows you to be a possible UX designer, decent SFX animator, and so on. But it doesn't necessarily mean you can do that job well, as a specialist is often needed for polish. Fourth, AI doesn't take your job, it takes the job of the previous AI. For example, Midjourney took Stable Diffusion job, GPT-4 took GPT-3's job. Once you have a slot in your workflow for AI mid gen, AI code gen, or the like, you just allocate the spend to the latest model. Killer AI is already here and it's called drones, and every country is pursuing it. So it's not the image generators and chatbots one needs to worry about. Decentralized AI is already here, and it's essentially polytheistic AI, many strong models rather than monotheistic AI, single all-powerful model. That means balance of power between human AI fusions rather than a single dominant AI that will turn us onto paperclip pillars of souls. AI is probabilistic while crypto is deterministic. So crypto can constrain AI. AI can break captchas, but it can't fake on-chain balances. It can solve some equations, but not cryptographic equations. Thus, crypto is roughly what AI can do. I think AI on the whole right now is having a decentralizing effect because there is so much more a small team can do with the right tooling, and because so many high quality open source models are coming. All this could change if self-prompting, self-verifying, and self-replicating AI in the physical world really gets going. But there are open research questions between here and there. Cryptocurrency partially protects you from debanking. Crypto identity partially protects you from denaturalization. Recognize ideas that are so crazy they'll probably happen. Password management, private key management, and crypto wallets will eventually converge. Modern version of ID, cash, and keys in a physical wallet. Use it to log into websites, store money, enter your home, and more. Perfect. Okay, we'll end over here.